Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. And if you haven't seen the news from the day before, in Minnesota, no less than 13 miles from where the ongoing Derek Chauvin case and George Floyd trial are occurring, there was another shooting of an African-American man, a 20-year-old. His name is Daunte Wright in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. You can Google where that is. It's literally 13 miles from Minneapolis where the trial is going on. He was stopped for a traffic violation, I believe. And then during the traffic stop, there were three officers. Two of them were attempting to arrest him. He had a warrant, so he was everything was going, normal. He was turned around, about to put his hands in handcuffs, and he dove into his car. The video is up. You can watch it. I'll link it below. It is graphic, so do, viewer warning. But it's only about a 40-second video, mind you. He dives into the car. Somehow he slips out of him, and he gets into the car, and he's trying to take off in the car. He actually gets it in drive because right as he's in the car, the second officer, which is a female officer, she was there for 26 years. Kim Potter is her name. They named her today. She started yelling at him that she was going to tase him. She pulled out her weapon, which actually turned out to be her gun, not her taser, and she yelled, "Taser, taser, taser," and she shot, but it was her gun, not her taser. So of course, that's a huge problem because how do you not know that you have your gun in your hand instead of your taser? The police department said that there's 3 safety measures they have to stop officers from accidentally shooting their gun as opposed to their taser when they're not trying to use deadly force. One is that they keep their gun on their dominant side. So she's right-handed, her gun will be on the right side, her taser on the left because you're most likely to grab with your right hand. If you're grabbing with your hand that's not dominant, your left hand, if you're not left-handed, then you'll know like immediately that's not right, it's my taser, and it doesn't require the same kind of, precision. If you accidentally shoot somebody with a taser, you're gonna tase them. If you accidentally shoot somebody with your gun, you can probably kill them. So that's step 1. Step 2 is that the taser has a bright yellow. You guys have seen it like on the ends or on the grips. Different tasers have different locations, but they're yellow. They're big, bright yellow. So that's really the second one. And the third one is the tasers are made with different kind of grips and materials than a gun. So the feel is different. So 3 different ways she should have known. In the video, she has the gun in her hand about 4.5 seconds. I slowed it down frame by frame. You can look at it. A few other people did it too. Anywhere from 4 to 5 seconds, she has the gun in her hand. And then the reason we know he got it in drive is right as she yells, "Taser, taser, taser," and shoots, you can barely hear the bullet go off. It hits him. You see it hit him in the side, like in the chest area here. And then the car takes off. So he just put it in drive and he drove off. I don't remember how far he made it, maybe a block or 2 before he crashed from the bullet wound. And then he died on the scene. And of course, all heck has broken loose. Last night there were protests. Andrew Mercado from Mercado Media actually did like a 5.5-hour live stream showing the protests last night. There was a curfew from 7 p.m. put in. Nobody followed it. They were out there. He was out until 2 or 3 in the morning, I think, until they went home. There wasn't any rioting. The police just fired tear gas. Most of the crowd dispersed. There was a couple stores that got damaged, and one of them had their sprinklers go off a Dollar Tree. It didn't get too bad, but they do say they expect this to go on all week. Now, the update this morning here on the 13th is that the officer has resigned. She was placed on administrative leave and was probably going to be fired at the very least. She resigned, as did the police chief. So both of them have resigned. I don't know why the police chief did. Ultimately, it's her responsibility. He trains the officers. No officer is trained to shoot someone when they're tasing them. I never know why the people in charge do that, but she did step down, and now she's under internal investigation still by the police department as to whether or not charges will be filed. I expect she's going to be charged with negligent discharge of a weapon and probably involuntary manslaughter. It's a mistake. It's an accident, possibly. I don't know, but she's gonna have to. Either way, she made a big mistake and she killed someone. So she's gonna have to be arrested for it. And if not because you believe it, because well, we see what happens when they don't get arrested. So also the city. This is one that I don't agree with. The city manager was asked if he believes she should have been arrested immediately, and he said, per the policies, per the internal investigations, that she would get due process and that they would proceed from there. And then the mayor fired him for saying she would get due process and not being arrested immediately, which is ridiculous. Like, even if you believe she deserves to be arrested right away, they have to go through a process. They have to investigate. All the normal things have to happen. And just by you saying that the normal process has to take place as a city manager, he didn't deserve to be fired. That's ridiculous. And if you actually read the statements from the other staff members of the mayor, they said clearly that he was fired in order to satisfy the protesters. You can't do, even if you believe it and it's the right thing to do, you can't do things just because people protest. That is not how it works. You got to follow the process. So that one was a little frustrating. The mayor should be ashamed of himself because he's doing exactly what he's hypocritically accusing the city manager of doing, not giving her due process and saying she deserves it. He didn't give the city manager due process. You can't just fire the guy because of that, right? Okay, anyways. So Chief Tim Gannon resigned Tuesday morning, and he revealed that Potter likely shot Wright in the mistaken belief that she was holding her taser and not her pistol after speaking about Potter, who served 26 years in the Brooklyn Center Police Force. She wrote a letter. All of the big politicians, Obama, Biden, Harris, everybody spoke out. They are planning protests for the rest of this week and this weekend. The bigger problem is that this is only 13 miles from the George Floyd, Derek Chauvin trial, and the jury, which the defense asked to be sequestered, which means locked away so they can't watch anything, are not. They can watch the news. They're told not to, but they're told not to watch the news about George Floyd. They're not told not to watch the news about this, and it's almost impossible not to see it. They're not supposed to be on social media about George Floyd, but all they got to do is look up, log into any account, and here it is. So it's going to be hard. It's going to influence those jurors even more, I have to say. So you can watch the video. I'll link it below, and then I'll link this story. It's on every site: CNBC, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. It's on the New York Times, Washington Post. They all have it. So I'll link one of them down there below. And that's the update. I expect more of these protests tonight. It's Tuesday night all the way through the weekend. They put curfews in place for the rest of this week, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, but no one's going to listen to it, right? So just this stuff keeps happening, and I don't know. Some of it's accidents, some of it's deserved, some of it's not. This guy, resisted arrest, jumped in his car. Technically, if he had jumped in his car and was driving, the officers were in the way. The third officer maybe was in the way and could have drugged the officer. She shouldn't have shot him here, obviously, but there could have been an outcome where it could have been justified. It didn't happen here, but it's just, if you're being arrested, just get arrested. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. And if you're right, sue them later, right? Don't resist arrest. It never ends well. We keep seeing it over and over again. No excuse for what she did, but resisting arrest just makes everything worse. So I'll leave these links. Enjoy the links. Watch the video, graphic. So make sure you're not around any kids when you watch it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.